Hello everyone, and welcome back to some more Friday night shenanigans. Yes sir, here we are, back again, and as you can see, in the top left corner, we have something new. Yes sir. Let me check if I'm recording. Yes I am. And a bit of an intro. So, well, first maybe some not so good news, because I want to apologize. Because I don't think I will be able to, due to holidays and the amount of work I had in this week, to actually do the Friday shenanigans after this one, more after this one, this year. Because I'm going on a holiday, a Christmas holiday, winter holidays, so yeah, I'll be outside of the city I work in and in my hometown. I don't have my microphone there, and I wouldn't be able to record even if I had, because I have a lot of work to do at home and need to help my parents, etc. So yeah, so this will probably be the last Friday shenanigans this year, and also I don't think I will be able to show you my new idea this year. I'll talk about why in a second, but for now, yeah, I'm very sorry. I don't know how many people actually enjoy the Friday shenanigans episodes or how many people watch it, but sorry, I was caught in too much work, and you know, this week I even had to record the batches to basically last me for 3 weeks because of my holidays, so I had about 6 hours or more of recording done in a couple of sittings, I think in 2 sittings or something like that, so I kinda am really well, I don't know, tired, but kind of feeling weak right now. It doesn't help that everybody at work is sick, so yeah. And, continuing now, I would like to show you a new game here, and that's Mordheim, City of the Damned. And to start this, I would like to say that Mordheim is a fabulously, how do I say this? It's both interesting and bugged in a weird yet funky way that makes you wanna play it more. It's obviously, I was gonna say fabulously flawed game. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for, because it's a digitalized version of the tabletop game of Mordheim set in the Warhammer Fantasy realms. But it kinda, I think it took some liberties somewhere here and there. But what I mean by it's flawed. It has a lot of bugs. It has some weird interactions, and it's lacking in some departments. And it's a phenomenal base for another game. If they do a Mordheim 2 with Mordheim 1 as a base, this would be it would be really awesome. I'm gonna make a new band, new warband to well, basically show you how this works. So yeah, it's really atmospheric. It's you get that gloomy, grim, dark Warhammer world where everything waits for you to make a bad move and tries to ambush you, cut your throat, and, you know, kill you. And you get that funky, desolate feeling of that rundown city, the city of Mordheim, you know? It's very atmospheric, very. For now, let's begin with, well, doing a warband, because this is what you do from the start. You do a warband, and I would recommend for the new players to actually do the tutorials. Let me be sure, there are tutorials for this game, and I recommend you do them. The game also skims on some mechanics. It's not so technically deep while explaining some of them, and that's kind of a bummer, but most of all, the tutorial would work well if you want to start and play. First off, we have to choose a faction for our warband, and in the base game you have the Human Mercenaries, the Sisters of Sigmar, the Cult of the Possessed, the Skaven. There are 2 DLCs which I have. One of them is the Undead, and the other are the Witch Hunters. So I mainly did Cult of the Possessed. I think I did Skaven once, but you know, because I'm a Chaos fan from both Warhammer and Warhammer 40k. Yeah, I know, but just something keeps pulling me towards Chaos. Don't know why. So I mainly played them. But for the sake of demonstration, let's pick up maybe the Witch Hunters. Let's pick up a drastically different function.
Place, my brother.
Also, I like the narrator here. He really does a great work. And as you can see, there is a very, very hefty amount of fluff thrown in. So this is pretty good. This is something that I liked.
I forget to introduce
in this game, but let's skip on that. So this is our war camp, which basically acts as our base of operations. We manage our squad. We do the equipment, the skills, the spells. We pick missions, etc. I'll show you. So, first things first, warband management. Here we can check our squads. And we have a quick summary of stats, their weapons, and various, I will not say abilities. You have some skills though, but well, maybe it will be a bit clearer when we proceed. So let's proceed. There are also different types of not warriors, but different types of types, basically different types of units that you hire to occupy squads. Inside of a warband you have a leader, which for the witch hunter is a witch hunter captain. You have a hero, you have henchmen slots, and there is also the reserve, where you can hire people to chill around there, and when your guys get wounded and are tired, you can rest your guys and swap in a quick reserved unit. Other than that, we have, like I said, leaders, heroes, henchmen, and I think it's impressives or imposing units. Impressives, I think. Big monstrous units that you unlock later on in the game. I think you have to get a warband level to unlock that. I forget which level. Anywho, yeah. So as you can see, when we click on the leader, we have a description. We have his history. We have his injuries, because yes, units can have permanent injuries here, and those injuries will affect the way they play in the battle scenario. So keep that in mind, and that's why you want to have reserves, and it's important to actually judge correctly your injuries and your units to swap them if needed. And don't worry, those other units that you hire to the reserves will come leveled, so don't worry about that. You won't find yourself in a bad spot. At least I remember they do come leveled. So yeah. First off, we have a degree of stats the unit has, with a description, rough description. You can see at this lower center part of the screen. We have physical stats, we have mental stats, and let me skim over them quickly. Strength, as you can see, affects both damage and chances to parry, because you can have parry and block in this game. Toughness. Here you can see it says wounds, because this is a... I don't know how many of you played or saw a Warhammer or a tabletop game in general. I don't know about other tabletop games, but I definitely know that Warhammer games, both 40k and fantasy, use the wound system. Wounds is basically HP, so when it says it increases wounds, it means it basically increases your HP. So keep that in mind, and don't let the game kinda confuse you in this regard. Also, one thing I would like to note here. that can be a little bit tricky. Let me just find the description. I made some notes. Yeah, the thing that I wanted to talk about here. The wounds. Sometimes the game uses vague sentences. I think tabletop players are more used to those type of sentences. Sorry, I'll see if it's recording correctly. So you maybe see a slight flicker of the screen. It is, sorry. So yeah, maybe tabletop players are more used to the wounds system, but to those of you that aren't, the game sometimes says that the character has full wounds, which means full HP, and sometimes there are abilities that mention things like remove wounds. And you could think that remove wounds, if wounds are HP, then remove wounds, does that mean that it heals me? No, that does not mean that. By an ability saying it removes wounds, it basically says the game basically means it, upon use, it removes wounds from the character that used the ability. So, to be clearer, that ability drains HP upon use. So be sure to remember that. Or you would learn the hard way. Not that I have any experience with that here. Yeah, but if you want to heal, then the ability should say restore wounds, that it upon use it restores wounds. So yeah, keep that in mind. And also we have agility, which increases dodge chance, and as you can see, increases chance to pass climb, leap and jump down tests, because yes, dear viewers, we have climb, leap and jump. And we basically roll dice, like in good old tabletop. So we have a chance to pass it. If not, when we, for example, jump down, we can land in a not so graceful way and incur damage, from what I remember. It's been a long time since I played this, so I think it looked like that. Now, we have also mental stats. And we have morale, and we have psychological, not physiological. Dang, that would be rough tests to pass in a battle. Psychological tests. So all your rolls against fear, against terror, and you can see that the first thing in the parenthesis is all alone. So if your units get routed and there is only one unit remaining, he needs to pass the all alone check. If it doesn't work, you basically run and fail the mission. Yeah. We have intelligence, we have spell damage, because there are spells here with different effects, buffs, debuffs, heals, direct damage spells, depending on the mage, depending on the character that uses them. And as you can see, mental condition tests, and like the other tests, that's basically, it influences a dice roll against those debuffs or status effects. We have alertness that governs the initiative, the range resistance, etc, etc. We also have martial skills. We have weapon skills that are used mainly for close quarters units, so all your melee units. The ballistic skill, which is used primarily by your ranged units. And the accuracy skill, which is used by, well, basically, I think it's used by all units as a sort of a supplementary martial skill, sorry. Then we have others such as movement, initiative, etc, etc. You have all your resistances, you have the description, we have perks that the unit has, your proficiency with the equipment. I think the human units are the only units that can use... No, sorry, no they're not. Skaven can also use pistols, if I remember correctly. So yeah, you can check the unit's inventory. Crossbow pistols, because why not, this is Warhammer. We have a sword, we have the crossbow pistols, we have clothing, which is a cloth armor type. We have cloth, light and heavy, from what I remember. We also have some supplementary items. So there is a lot you can do here. Have some skills. For now, you have our basic passive skill that the unit has, innate, learned, and later on we can actually buy skills. So skills are not learned per se here, they are bought, but they do require a level and gold to buy. And you can also have a degree of customization on your unit. As you can see, there are different styles, different colors. So yeah, you can even name your units. So yeah, there is some degree of customization you can do. You can even edit the bio of the unit. So for all those role players here, there is some degree of fun to be have, like in real tabletop, you know? That's kind of interesting. And before I continue, here we come to my idea that I'd like to present to you, and the one that I said that I thought basically from nearly the start of my Let's Play career, and that is I want to do a story type play. Basically, I needed to find a game with a loose objective or with different missions or something like that, something not with heavy narration and not heavily story based. This is a great game for that because you have your main objectives and you can fully customize which missions you pick. I mean, you can fully customize your warband, you can pick different kinds of missions. There are some story missions, yes, but the way you get to them and the way you play, it's up to you. And you, as you can see, you can name your leader, you can pick his bio, you can influence how they look. And that's the type of game that I was searching for. A loosely based game that I can write my own stories. So yeah, my idea was to play a game. Mainly the gameplay will be in the background, but the main centerpiece will be stories. I will try to read in a careful and articular way some stories. Maybe some short stories, maybe some are longer, about items, people, characters, battlefields, battles. Yeah, that's my idea for a, well, maybe uncommon. I don't know, I haven't checked if anyone does that. Uncommon type of Let's Play. It could be edited depending on the type of stories that I write or their length, and I kinda need some time to not make them silly or to not make them, you know, kinda unbearable. They should be on par. They should provide some entertainment for the listeners, and yeah, I would like to try that. I would also like to ask, but I will do that in the first video of the story type Let's Play, to maybe if your viewers would be interested in picking a character, picking a name for that character, or maybe writing a short story yourself, or writing a name that I could use for a short story, something like that, something interactive with you. And I think this is a good game to start that idea with. So, be sure to think about that. And as for me, let me continue. First off, we need to hire a warrior. We will start with the hero unit. So here we can see different types of heroes. And yeah, what do we want here? We have a Knight Templar, we have a Zealot, and we have a Flagellant, which is a henchman. Wait, sorry, this is a hero type of henchman. No talents. Okay, he has a flail, which is a restricted type of weapons. I think only them and Sisters of Sigmar have flails, if I recall. Have a Zealot. Okay, does he have anything interesting? Scroll. Here maybe he has access to some magic. You also have a Knight Templar. Last stand, all these fights to the death. I don't know, you know, he can't flee or retreat. But it is immune to fear and terror tests. Yeah, we'll go with him. We need someone to pack a punch in close quarters. As for the henchman, go with a Flagellant. We'll go with a Zealot. And let me check one more thing. You know what? let's go with another flagellant, as he has a higher accuracy. So, okay. We're good here, we're good. We have our first squad up. And for now, that's all the slots that we can field. So, okay, so let's continue. We don't have any veterans. But we can rise our veteran rank. There's a lot of systems here. The game does a fairly good job in saying you what this gives and what you need to do here. Yeah. So we have to do some tasks. And those tasks range from fairly easy to sometimes maybe a bit difficult, depending on how you play and how good are you with the system. So, and it also, well, the veteran, I think, is the part that persists between warbands, because there are some parts that persist and some parts that are basically like a rogue-like. So if your warband fails and dies, it's basically over. You need to do from scratch. As you can see, I have 2 unspent veteran points because, yeah, like I said, persisted. Here are the tasks you have to do. You can, some range from buying to killing to progressing through the campaign, etc., etc. So yeah, be sure to check on those. Those are very useful ones. You have the shop, which are various items in various degrees of rarity, because there are different types of rarity items here. But for now we don't have much gold and we don't have much items to buy. For now. The shop changes daily, because when you do a mission, I think that a day progresses. So you can check the campaign mission. You can do random skirmishes with your warband, but you can also do the campaign missions. So yeah. The main thing that you want to watch out for is the difficulty. As you can see, Rivals in the Ruins has normal. Beneath the name there is a skull. And beneath those you can see 2 icons. One is the availability of warp stone, and the other is points of interest, I think, or something like that. The warp stone is a very important resource, because we need to earn those resources in the campaign. I think I don't know, I think all factions need to. I played mainly the cult, so the cult needs to earn the wormstone to the warpstone shipments to satisfy their leader of the cult, So we have 2 normal missions, but one has average warpstone, one has very poor, and basically very poor those treasure chests. Those are I don't know, I can't find the word for it. Not curios, maybe curios. The things that you can find lying in homes, like treasure chests, safe spots, etc. to loot. Those are loot spots, basically, and both are very poor here. And you can send scouts for money, and those scouts will find you additional missions. You have upcoming events, so you have market rotations, you have new henchmen for hire, etc. So you can see that here. And shipment of warpstone, yeah, so every faction needs a shipment of warpstone other missions, I don't remember, every X days past, you need to ship a certain amount of warpstone. You have various sizes of warpstone. There are fragments, there are chunks, and I don't remember the third. They basically add up to a value, and you need to ship a certain value of them. So let's start the mission. First things first. Here we pick our squad. You see we have the reserves here. We have main squad. We have all the slots that we have opened. We have them used, so that's good. And a thing to actually be careful about here. The first kinda trap the game throws at you, and maybe at start you won't actually notice it, but do you see that you have 2 launch buttons? And basically what this means is launch with a pseudo-random setup, the game will set up your units, or launch and deploy. You want to use launch and deploy everywhere where it is available, because you can freely deploy your units in points of deployment at the start of the mission. I'll show you how this works. So basically, you have different points here, and you can set up your units throughout these points. If you don't do launch and deploy, the game sets them up by itself, and you don't want that. So let's deploy our hero unit. We will go in the center. I mean our leader. Here's our hero unit. We'll use him, place him there. Flagellant here, and another flagellant here. You mainly want the units to be bundled up against the AI. On the left side you have objectives. As you can see, on the upper part of the map you have the turn order based on initiative. And on the upper right corner you have the combat log, and on the upper left corner I forgot what the game calls them. Those are points that you see. You have full points. That basically, that's the points. Every unit in your squad is worth points, and that's the sum total of it. And there is a threshold. You can see one's at 20 and one's at 16. Below that threshold you need to pass a save, otherwise your units will rout. So yeah, that's this. And as you can see, the circle here is the degree of movement. The unit can move for the cost of 1 action point. Above the QE symbols in the center, you have 2 red skulls. Those are action points. Sorry, those are attack points. I'll check how they're named in a second. The blue dots beneath my health bar near the QE and near my name are the movement points. Every traversal of the circle edge costs movement, costs those dots. So be sure to watch out for that. You only pay the cost when you finalize the movement. So if we're still moving, we can go back and we'll be refunded points, as you can see. So be sure to remember that unless you do an action or are hit, those points that you spent are not finalized. So you can do some scouting here. But watch out, if you see some abominations on the house like this, there are frequently traps, and they will spray you with some strange warp energies, and you'll take damage and you will use up your points. So be sure to remember that. So I'll move here and I'll go into ambush stance, basically. So let's talk about the stances. Because as you can see, I went into ambush stance, but there's also Overwatch stance. But there is also, as I push Q and E, you have dodge stance, which is affected by both your agility, your type of armor you're wearing, and your skills. You can switch weapons, which also costs. As you can see above the QE there, the action, it says how many points the action costs. So this one costs 2 movement and 1 action. You have perception, which allows us to view traps and other things. We have delay, we can delay our own turn. We have end turn, and we have the Overwatch stance. Let me check my notes, because there's a lot of systems here and I haven't played it for a while, so I did come prepared here. You know. Oh, the red ones are offensive points. And there are, well, maybe I'll talk about the stances first, because there are a couple of tricks here, and you know what, let's first talk about what I started, and then I'll come to the later parts, because this is where the jankiness of the game comes into play, and I would prefer you to see it first. So, stances. For example, the main defensive stances are the parry and dodge stances. Let me move while I'm talking. So yeah, you have defensive stances and offensive stances, and the main defensive ones are the parry and dodge, like I said. Okay, who moves now? Be sure to try and keep your guys neatly bunched up so they can support each other. Because the enemy will definitely try to go all out on you. Okay, back to the stances. So, like I said, the main defensive stances are parry and dodge. They're used to either reduce the incoming damage or mitigate the damage. Avoid the damage outright, basically. They do have, I think, upgrades based on skills that you can purchase later on in the game. That increase, I think, the number of parries you can do, etc. Depends on the skill. So, other than that, how do those stances work? So basically, you need to first use the stance. It doesn't trigger automatically. And then, for it to work, every stance needs a trigger to work. And here, in the defensive version, the trigger is basically being hit. Yeah, so maybe it's sometimes counterintuitive when, like, how being hit when we're talking about parry or dodging. Yeah, actually being hit, because the stances work when the attack is done to you. And I mean done, not the attack motion, because the attack can miss. That's one thing, but if it connects, if it doesn't misses, then the stances come into work. Yeah, it works like that. So, okay, I forgot that first Volkmar is moving. Upon triggering, the current use of the stance is removed. So basically here I will do an ambush stance, and one trigger of the ambush stance will remove the ambush stance. It will no longer be in that stance. So need to be wary of that. You won't do infinite counters, infinite triggers. No. But you can do more than one. Can I check the map? Yeah, I think I can, but I don't remember the controls. Let me check. Oh, you can use a gamepad here. Did not know that. Button mapping. Where's the map? I swear there was a map. Huh. Oh yeah, there is. Middle mouse. Okay. Middle mouse, you say? So, do we see anything? We see a warpstone cluster. We see scavenge points. We don't see enemy units. We see our wagon. Oh yeah, be sure to guard your wagon or prevent the enemy from taking the idol. Oh, there's the enemy, so I am going the correct way. And I'll tell you why I'm going this way in a moment. Okay, let's go like this. So, like I said, one trigger removes one use of the stance. So, as for the defensive stances, dodge stance. Oh yeah, see? I will use I got hit by a trap, and I will use my move points. I can't regain them, can't go back and regain them that easily. Unfortunate. So, as for the defensive stances, the dodge stance. Anyone can use the dodge stance. There are no prerequisites, every unit knows how to use the dodge stance. But the parry stance is a bit different. The parry stance requires you to have certain weapons, such as a shield or a halberd, or some certain faction weapons, like Skaven have certain weapons that enable them to parry, that the others cannot use, etc. So, not all units can do a parry. And entering a stance will actually end your current moving unit's turn, so remember about that. Like I told you, going through the stats screen, there are various, and showed you, there are various stats that work on different stances. They increase the chance of it working, etc. And the tooltip also showed you that. Yes, for the rest, I think we'll go through it when we see an enemy, engage the enemy. But also ambush. You see me using the ambush stance at the end of my turn. How this works. Like with other stances, when you use that... oh, you see? On the resources on the left, you have updated Wordstones claim. So the enemy is claiming Wordstones, so they're probably here-ish. That's why we're going here. And... yeah, let's beat them up. Back to ambush. You see me using the ambush. As with the previous stances, ambush makes you basically end your turn. That's correct. And for the ambush to work, you must have a melee weapon. Because as you saw, my leader here didn't have an ambush, he had an overwatch, and that's because he's using 2 ranged weapons now. And how this works, you have a circle, a range, when you use the ambush stance, and when you're facing circle or a cone, I don't remember, and if you're facing a correct way, because the enemy can get behind you and it won't work on the ambush. As you can see, this should be the range of the ambush stance. Or wait, I think it will work in the back. Oh, there was the range of the ambush stance for a moment. Sorry. So yeah, you need a melee weapon to do an ambush. Crap. I should have used... Using perception would actually show me the traps. So there is also this. You can see the cluster of... Yeah, and we can see the enemy units. Okay, so let me finish talking about stances before I say what I want. So as soon as the enemy enters our ambush stance range, even if there are no other no obstructions in the way, obstructions, terrain or characters, we will interrupt the enemy movement by basically rushing them and swinging them in the heads. So yeah, cool. And we'll do it. See? And there wasn't a full circle because the wall obstructed. And that's why I finished here. Because I wanted to have the front covered. So the enemy, if the enemy moves towards my leader, and the leader covers my flank. Oh, this is the cult leader. He used a buff, but it failed. And he can counterattack after my attack. And the damage was quite beefy, and he entered dodge stance. So yeah, quite a lot of things happening, so let me go through them. But first let's finish up the ambush. So as you see, he made a counterattack as soon as I finished my attack. It depends on how much offensive points he has. If he used some, he can't counterattack. And different types of weapons use different amounts of offensive points to swing. Two-handed weapons use more offensive points than one-handed weapons and dual wield to swing. So keep that in mind. So if you are doing an ambush, let's say here he's an ambush range and we run to him because an ambush triggered. And there is a trap along the way, and I hit that trap, the ambush will fail. Unfortunately. Oh crap, there are ranged units here, so I'll position myself differently. And as you can see, those circles here determine the close encounter range, and if I pass this, I am locked in a melee encounter. Now I can't freely walk around, I need to either disengage, which costs points, or attack him. And we have damage on the right, and on the left you have chance to hit. And there's a lot of things here, so get used to that. And let me just say one thing. For people that played XCOM, if you think XCOM percentages are unfair, you did not play Mordheim. Those percentages are unfair. This sure as hell ain't 75%, and I missed a ton of 90% attacks, and I mean a ton of 90% attacks. It ain't even funny sometimes. So keep that in mind. Okay, so that's basically the ambush gun, I think. So, back to the battle. And as you saw by the first ambush that we did, the enemy countered, like I said, because he had enough offensive points. And we were hit for quite a bit, 48 damage from what I remember. And yeah, basically the amount of damage we received is based on a couple of modifiers. First is the type of weapon that the character is holding, which is normal. Then we have bonus from strength, bonus from... When it comes to melee, there's bonus from strength, and when it comes to range, there is a bonus from the ballistic skill. And we have various skills that determine the amount of damage. We have spells, we have buffs that also determine that. And all of that is taken into calculation, and, well, then there is displayed as the final damage we do. But there is also a catch. And let me first do an attack, and you'll see. Okay, here we have the prediction. I hit, and I did hit. The dodge failed. And he, I think, is no longer in his dodge stance. And I can flee now. I can delay, or I can end my turn. I will end my turn, because I don't have any more points to attack. And unfortunately, swinging a weapon, like a two-handed weapon, and a dual-wield weapon in quick succession, that is one time, and then another time, and then another time, it gives you a penalty towards damage. I think the game says that somewhere, I don't recall. So, in case of dual wielding, it's actually a stacking percentage. Every concurrent swing gets a... No, sorry, the dual wield has a flat percentage. Every concurrent swing has a 25% reduction to damage. And the amount of swings depends on how much offensive points you have. On lower levels we only have 3 on our henchmen, but as we gain levels... Oh, and the guy died. And as we gain levels, we increase our... As you can see, I can loot. We increase our amount of points we have. So let's loot him. Oh, we have the weird stone. And the token. Heck yeah, we'll use it. And before I pick the word stone, I'll finish. So yeah, the flat damage penalty. But while using a two-hander, like the boys here, you have a stacking percentage reduction. So every hit you make after the first gets a 50% reduction. So the second gives a 15%, another one gives 30%, and another one gets 45%, etc. You get the drift. So yeah, that's how it works. And now we come to the coup de grace, the big cheese, the weird stone itself. And as you probably think, or some of you that play tabletop games know, anything that you do in a tabletop isn't that easy. You can't just pick up weird stone, my god, no, you cannot do that, because if you pick it up, there is a chance that you get afflicted by something. And I'm trying to find in my notes if I have it, because on the top of my head I can remember that you can get both a penalty or a buff, or you can, I think, resist the effects of weird stone, but I'm not sure about the buff. I do know that you get a penalty or you can resist, so if there is a fighting situation, you best take care of the most pressing matters and then pick the weird stone if you can. Yeah, because those penalties can cost you a battle, believe me. Oh, I found it, I think. Yeah, and there's also skills that help you resist the weird stone corruption. So anywho, let's pick this up and you will see. Okay, I'm full for now, so... Yeah, we're good, we're good. Exit.
Objective complete.
And see if we occur a penalty or... Yeah, there's a debuff. Curse warp effect. Unfortunately. Okay. So we'll end the turn. Yeah, as you can see, this game is filled with mechanics. So it can be a bit daunting, but it is fun. As you can see, it's very atmospheric. Ooh, dang it. They hit me hard. So, also, one thing that I would like to talk about the AI and the janky part. As you can see, I killed their leader, so their amount of points drastically fell down. They have 24 and 16 is the threshold that they need to pass a psychological test
A new
to match
round
route.
has started.
Okay, so there's a Dark Soul moving. Don't know where. Dark Soul Knar. I know the type of units from the cult roster. Okay, the best thing to do is to focus on one unit at a time when fighting the enemy. Ambush stance. Let's see if we... Can I... No. Let's hit him and have no other option. So... Oh, you... slimy little... I didn't roll correctly. Let's dodge, because we have a higher percent at that. I need to pin the archer down, though. But we'll do that with another unit. Need to hide with my ranged unit. We'll go here to be safe. Unfortunately, we need to reload, which costs an action. And we get an arm fatigue. Of course we do. Later in the game you get also skills to use when attacking. And of course we didn't hit. Maybe I'll switch to melee. I'll see in the next turn. So, as for our hero, we will attack this guy. Because I don't want him to shoot freely at all my units. Also, yeah. See? 2 attacks in one turn. Because he's using a single sword with a shield. And it costs 2 action points, and he has 2, 4, 5. So I can swing 2 times. Which is pretty neat. I'll go into parry stance, and now I'll view the map for this. As you saw, first thing that I did is to scout out. I wanted to scout out the Wyrstone. I didn't use the map at first because Wyrstone is pretty visible from far away, because it's kind of glowing Wyrstone green. And I did that because this is the janky part. Let me see how long this is. 47 minutes, yikes. This is the janky part, because the AI always focuses first on running to the Wyrstone and gathering Wyrstone. Only when they see your units, they then change towards full-on attacking. Crap. So be sure to remember that the first thing the AI does is to get the Wyrstone. I'm attacking this guy, so if I take care of him, I can actually route them a bit faster. 0%, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, be sure to... yeah, he failed his check. Be sure to have that in mind when you are thinking about... I'll hide behind this guy, behind my heroes. If you're thinking about tactics, the AI always goes for the Wyrstone first and then throws all its units on you when they see you. Be sure to remember that. And I do mean it throws all of its units if it detects you. I stunned this guy, so we're good here. He will lose his first turn. Ooh, I failed because he's stunned. So we're good there.
A new round has started
by that guy, and since the new round started, he has... Basically, he can stand up and he can't attack on this turn, I don't think so. But we can, so let's stab it. Stabby, stab, stab. And the other janky thing this game does is the enemy squad always, and I mean always, mirrors your own squad. So if you have 3 henchmen, the enemy will have 3 henchmen. If you have 2 heroes, the enemy will have 2 heroes. They always mirror your squad. So, yeah. That's why sometimes you don't want to deploy a full one in a mission. Dang it. I think I'll really switch into melee and just go and slash him. On the next turn, that is. No. Loot. I want to actually loot the word stone. And maybe I will actually run around and take some more word stone. But not with that guy. So we will take care of him, and we'll see if they rout after this. Or no. Well, at least not now. I don't need the axes. Or the bows. Okay, see? This one actually was beneficial. It restored wounds. You can see it on the right side in the combat log. And we didn't have an icon with the red arrow going down, so... And he failed the dodge, nice. We have 0%. We could flee. No. Gave him a free attack, the flee didn't work. Oh, it did work. Okay, yeah. Let's go and gather some more wordstone, maybe. Dang it, we missed. Will he counter? No, he did not. So let's go into dodge stance. Only 25%, but that's always something. And the route test, because we won. Because they were below the threshold of their morale. And yeah, we won. We won our first mission. After you win, depending on the difficulty of the mission, you will give a percentage of spoils that lie on the ground. And I think of the wordstone that remains. So yeah, that all depends on the mission. And as you saw, we also got some rewards. We got some spoils we found on the enemy. We fought bravely. We took down 2 of them. So yeah, that's nice for a first battle.
You are the instrument of Sigmar's justice, bringing his righteous wrath upon those who would sow their evil in the lands of men.
We have a lot more. There will be a lot more things to cover in depth, like armor modifiers, armor reduction, skills, crit chances, crit. But if you are interested and if the game is to your liking, you can, check it out. Read on it, do a tutorial. I basically showed you the basics of the basics required to properly play without going more in depth. I can go more in depth if you like. I could do another Friday shenanigans going more into depth, because I remember what I said in this one, and we'll try to go more in depth because there's a lot of things to cover. And yeah, I think one will not do justice. So okay, after the battle, there is you can either get an advancement, or you get experience every time, or you can incur injuries if your unit has been taken out. There's also a roll for that, but that's another different thing. Yeah, this one's wounded, fortunately, and yeah, permanent injury. You can get permanent injuries in this game, like I said, and they have effects on the way you fight. See, it's kind of cool, the amount of things they throw at you. And it may sound daunting at first, but believe me, it's quite learnable, it's quite fun. Yeah, and also you must pay your warriors, so be sure to have the correct amount at your treasury, otherwise, yeah, you're gonna have a bad time. And that's 6 at the present point. So, I hope you had fun with this episode, and I hope you felt the atmosphere of the ruined city of Mordheim. I definitely did. And even though this game is jank, I really like it. I spent some hours playing it, and I would like to play some more, especially since I'll have some free time, since the holidays are coming. And what I can say is the game is pretty much abandoned, but there are mods, there are a lot of mods. Some are mods that influence the systems, like I think there was a mod by a user called Paranoia, and it's called Paramod. And he basically changes some mechanics, like for example the enemies don't mirror your team in his mod, so that's always a good idea. The game is quite frequently, well, because it's an old game and because it's abandoned, it's quite frequently on high sales, at least the base game. So there's also that, and it's Warhammer. I mean, I love Warhammer, so there's also that. I think that kind of influences me on this game, but I don't get me wrong, I don't have the rose-colored glasses. This game is janky as heck, and I experienced it during the campaign a lot. You can get locked, the enemies sometimes can't proceed through doorways, and they sometimes take a lot of time to make their turns, they sometimes can't finish their turns because the AI just goes in a loop, etc. This game is jank as heck, be sure to remember that. But also be sure to feel the atmosphere. And I would like to thank you for your time this Friday, and be sure to not go easy on the shenanigans. Take care everyone, thank you, bye bye, and most importantly, cześć!